Hey everybody, it's Greg Lavoff. Hey listen, welcome to another episode of Awaken, the Protect Our Within. And today I want to talk to you about clarity and conviction.
So the big question was this: what do good people do when a society's laws and institutions fail to keep them safe from aggression and violence? How do you get through a growing number of angry, hateful, aggressive people and still remain physically, mentally, and emotionally strong and positive? That was the question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Greg Lavoff, and welcome to Awaken the Protector Within.
Okay, clarity and conviction. I think everybody can relate and understand that when you have conviction in your life, now what am I talking about? Conviction, certainty. I'm talking about conviction of action, conviction of emotion. I mean, it's like those times in your life when you have been so certain, you're so certain that this is the right decision, this is the right choice, this is the right way to go, this is the right thing to do, that this is right. You're adamant, you're 100% all in with that. If you looked at the times when you have that level of conviction, by the way, is what causes people to take action. When people are certain, that is when they act. And actions are the things that change our lives. Matter of fact, most of us, you know what it is? It's a daily, weekly, monthly struggle for us to take action, to do things. Not just do things like, oh, I got to get up and go to work. I did that. No, I mean to do things, the things we really want to do, the things that bring us fulfillment and passion, the things that improve us. To really do things is a challenge for us. And when do we end up doing these things? We do these things when we have conviction. So conviction is this powerful thing. Now, when have we had or experienced the highest levels of conviction? Because with it comes all of this powerful action that gives us what it is we want, all these great things. But when have we had the greatest, highest amounts of conviction? 9 out of 10 times, it's when you've had the greatest amount of clarity. Think about that. See the relationship between these two. You're so certain that this is what you need to do. This is the right thing. Even when it's hard, even when it's not a good thing, even when it's a hard thing, but you just know it has to be done. When you've had conviction, I guarantee you've had clarity. So, what happens then when we don't have the clarity? Because if you're like me, which I'm willing to bet most of you are, man, there's a lot of times in my life, more than I would like, where I don't have the clarity. You see, this is what it is. I mean, it's an interesting thing, right? To change yourself, to change something in the world, to better yourself, to grow, to move forward, which we all always are. Everything has to move forward. Nothing can stand still. Things are moving, things are changing. But to move forward like this means that often in our lives, we are experiencing uncharted waters. We're experiencing things that, in our relationships, in our careers, in our interactions with other people, as parents, as kids, whatever it is, we are constantly kind of pushing boundaries in uncharted waters, which means what? Well, if it's an uncharted water, if it's something we've never been through before, or it's something that we've maybe have been through it, but we're experiencing on a whole new level of intensity, okay, think about it, pain, suffering, even joy, whatever it is, but we're experiencing on a whole new level, we're in uncharted waters, then it stands to reason that we're not going to have as much conviction because we're not going to have as much clarity. That the water's going to be muddy. Most of life is lived in kind of this gray area. A lot of our powerful decisions in lives are not just black and white decisions. They're not simple things to just see and to know always what the right thing to do or which path we should take. Okay, so one of the things that I've done in the last little bit that has helped tremendously is recognize the dynamic between this and say, listen, I want to live a life of conviction, a life of passion, a life where I take action on things. So I've had to let go of a few different things. One is I've had to come to recognize, remember, control follows awareness. I had to become consciously aware that in the moments where I lack clarity, I will lack conviction. And I've had to break or sever that relationship to a degree. Because when I have clarity, I want the conviction. But many times in business and relationships, as a parent, all of it, I don't have that clarity. And so what I started to do is recognize in the times that I'm unsure, instead of hesitating, see what used to stall me out, what used to cause me anxiety, it was like the waiting. Matter of fact, I heard a saying, and the saying is that something like complexity is the enemy of execution. Complexity is the enemy of execution. Well, if you tweak that just a tiny bit, complexity often leads to confusion. complexity often robs us of clarity. So I think we could push that a little bit and say not only is complexity the enemy of execution, but confusion or lack of clarity is the enemy of execution. It's what prevents action. But here, it's literally as simple as this. What I have started to do, especially in the last 3 months, because I've really started to want to make an impact, I wanted to change and work on a few areas in my life, in my business particularly, where I knew I didn't have absolute clarity, but I knew I had to have action. I had to take massive action. What I've started to do is recognize I don't know exactly which way is right, but here's the thing. There is no quicker way to figure out the right way or the wrong way than to move forward, than to have conviction, than to take action. But here's the other side of it. It's scary as hell. It's scary when you don't know what your future holds. It's scary when you don't know what outcome or which way a situation's going to go. It's scary, man, if you look at this and say, I don't know if I'm going to be better off for this or if I'm going to be worse off. I don't know if this is going to ultimately make me happier in the long run or if this is going to prove to be a massive mistake in my life. You have to let go of the fear. And that's what I noticed. The clarity and the conviction, what synergizes and hooks those two together is fear. And there's different types of fear. You can have a realistic fear or you can have unrealistic fear. Anxiety is a part of fear. But the connection that we have to have is to recognize that when we are stuck in unclarity, when that robs us of action because of fear, because of uncertainty, because of anxiety, it stalls us out. And imagine going down a rapids or in a fast moving river or body of water, and you literally cut the engine on your boat. You're still moving, but now you're at the mercy of that water and those waves and that current. It is going to drag you, take you, toss you, flip you, or smash you into something. And maybe it works out well for you. Maybe it gently slides you up on shore and that's where you wanted to go. Or maybe it flips you. The point is you're losing control of our power. What we need to do is we need to start recognizing that we are going to have an awful lot of times in our life when we lack clarity. But what we can't do is allow that to rob us of conviction. Make decisions. Get good. Be a master at making decisions. Matter of fact, you want to think of yourself and you want to truly become one of the best people you know at making decisions. And here's the thing. Let me just put a caveat in on this. The very best decision makers have made more wrong decisions than anybody else. So what do we have to do? Get past the fear. Course correct. That's the hugest thing for me. Course correct. I was taught something 3 months ago. I was in Orlando at a conference, and I was taught something that was so powerful, and it's called an audible. Now, I'm not a big football guy. I don't watch a lot of football, but in football, they call audibles, which means that they call plays as the game is moving on. So it's like the game is rolling. They're playing the game, and they're calling audibles. They're changing their lineup formations. They're changing the plays. And I learned to take this concept and say, listen, you've got to learn to call audibles. And it really started to become clear over the last 3 months. And I've just expanded and said, listen, it's not only my business, but in life. It's like, listen, life is going, life is moving, sometimes at breakneck speeds. And so we understand the clarity comes conviction. But if we don't have the clarity, call audibles. Don't stop. Don't try to get out of bounds to stop the clock. That doesn't work, right? Keep the play moving and call your audibles and don't worry about it, because here's the thing. It's like a game. There's a beginning and there's an end. In life, there's a beginning and there is an end. But if you're not at the end, okay, if we're not there, that means we have time. That means the clock's running. So call audibles. Call your plays. Change on the fly. And the most amazing thing just in the last 3 months, I can't even tell you how much less anxiety I experience every day. Listen, I don't suffer from anxiety. I manage stress very, very well. I like pressure. I like operating under pressure. I like being under pressure. I love that stuff. But I'll tell you what, man, there's still anxiety. Pressure still comes with a price tag. But when I just have this concept to say, listen, the thing that I did recognize is that I will sit there. I like perfection. I like to really knock things out of the park. I like to do things very well. And I think a lot of people are like that. That's a great place to be, but there is an anchor that comes with that. You will literally I will sit and work something over and over and over. I will put hours and hours of thought into something and tweaking something, so much so that it almost mimics paralysis, because I want to get it right. But now in the last 3 months especially, that I started using this analogy saying, listen, in these moments that I lack clarity, it is affecting my conviction. It is robbing me of action. I am not course correcting. I'm not moving forward as fast as I want to be, and it's because of me. So stop waiting to have perfect clarity and start calling audibles. Start changing on the fly. And the second I did that, I realized that, listen, when I don't know exactly what to do, I don't know if this is going to turn out better for me or worse for me, it's okay, because take an action. Figure it out. Take an action and then make a course correction. You see, I'll share maybe one final story that really ties this up, but there was a very high-level general, and there's a war going on, and for months, a team of experts were putting together strategies for what they thought they should do in order to bring a resolution or bring an end to this war. Months. 40, 50 top experts are strategizing and theorizing. They come up with all these things. They wrote papers and they had books and all this type of stuff. And so finally the big day comes where they're sitting in front of all these generals, one in particular who has the final say. This is the man in charge. And they take hours. They go through like 2-3 days. They're going through all of these different strategies. We could do this. We could do this. We could do this. We could do this. And then they start going through all well, if we did this, here's why we think maybe we shouldn't do that. They're back and forth, because if we did this, then this might cause this. And if we did this. So there is a lot of uncertainty in that room. Right? Because why? Because lives hang in the balance. Because, the fate of, many people lays in the balance of this. And so at the end of presenting, they go through all of this stuff. They're basically thinking, okay, we're at a deadlock. And people are arguing this. Finally, this one general stands up. And he reaches on the table and he grabs one set of plans, and says, this is what we're doing. Now people are looking around and they're like, you didn't even, there's literally a pile of all of these different strategies. Do you even know which one you grabbed? And he's like, no, and I don't care. This is what we're doing. Everybody throw everything else out. This is what we're doing. Get on board with it, read it, get on board with it, and let's start moving forward. And he dismisses everybody, and everybody walks out, and people are like, this guy is crazy. He's lost his mind. We can't, what's going on there? And one of his top advisors comes and says, what are you doing? Aren't you terrified that, if this doesn't go well, they're going to hang you out to dry. They're going to pin this all on you, all this stuff. And he says, listen, did you see the same thing and hear the same thing that I've heard over the last few days? Every single person in this room is scared to make a decision. That's what this boils down to. Because in every possible outcome or every possible strategy, there's a negative. And nobody wants to be held responsible. So he goes, I'm not worried in the least, because we're going to do this. It didn't matter if I picked the best one, the right one, whatever it is. What we needed was somebody who was willing to start. And if the strategy that I picked doesn't work, we're going to figure it out real quick. We're going to see it right away. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to change strategies. We have an endless supply of strategies, but we're here worrying. We're paralyzed because we're worrying about picking the right one first. Newsflash, most things don't work right the first time you do something. We've got to call audibles. We've got to be able to move on the fly and know that you don't have to get it right straight out of the gate. You can watch and see what happens and feel what's going on, and you can change. This is your permission. Do not let lack of clarity rob you of conviction. Conviction of action, conviction of emotion, conviction in life brings you to action, and action is what changes us. Action is what changes the world. Action is what gives us everything that we truly want. But most times, I want you to know, just like me, just like everybody else, we're not going to have all of the clarity, all of the certainty when we take those actions. You're going to come from that gray area. But what you need to do now is just call the audible. Make the change on the fly. All right, everybody, listen, I'm going to leave it here with that. I hope that helps you. That has helped me so much over the last few months. And you know what? You get better, faster, and stronger at calling those audibles. Matter of fact, it's become more of a game to me. I love it. It's fun. Because I make a decision and I go with it. And very quickly I go, nope, that's not the results I want. And then I change. I've really started to break and disconnect. Don't worry about being judged. Don't worry about getting something wrong. Nobody's ever gotten something right until they've gotten it wrong. That's just the way it is. You get it. That's the way it is. All right, everybody, listen, I'm going to end it there. Hey, thank you so much for your support. Please, as always, share, rate this, spread our message, help us, get out, change the effects of aggression and violence in the world. Remember, stay safe, stay ready, and Off the X is only ever one step away.
Want to awaken your protector within? If so, then head to awakentheprotectorwithin.ca and get your free Off the X training today.